Today on Revos Garage, I got to get this chassis, my 1970 Nova, I got to get this chassis ready for that motor. Or I got to get that motor ready for that chassis. I got to get it mated. I got to get a transmission, all kinds of stuff put together, paint, cleaning, everything. Stick around, guys.
Papa says you rev it up and dump her.
All right, guys, so before we get going, I'm going to give you a quick recap on the car. So it's a 1970 Chevy Nova. It started life out as a 6-cylinder manual transmission car, grocery getter. And, geez, evidently the story was that the car got drag raced for a few years. And then after that, it sat in a barn for a very long time. So I picked it up over a decade ago. The thing was in pieces, like it still is. But I actually did wind up putting the car together. Put a motor, put a transmission in it, everything. Took it up the road real quick. Didn't like the setup, so I tore it apart. And I've been dragging the thing around for the last decade. It's in pretty good shape. It does need work. I did do some suspension work a few years back. And... you know, it just got weathered. It had to sit outside for a little bit. Pretty decent car. Floors need some work, but they're pretty solid. I'm not going to go crazy ripping out the floors and stuff like that because, like I said, it is a solid car. I mean, some of you might be looking at it saying, that thing's a rock box. But for New England, this is a very solid car. Now, you see, I did been working on it here and there. I did the quarter panel. First time I ever skinned a quarter panel, and... everything went great right up to the end. Learned a hard lesson about overheating sheet metal and getting warpage. So I pretty much made more work for myself, but hey, you know, you got to learn, right? So that's that. I got to do some trunk work back here. As you can see, it's storage right now, like every car that sits in a garage needs. I have to do this quarter panel skin, all that stuff. Doors work great. I have all the parts for the thing all over the place. And... yeah, so I got to get this thing running and driving so I can actually pull it in and out of my garage because I have other jobs to do. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so this motor is the motor that is going to be going into the car. I mean, it's your classic 350. I got a good transmission. I drove the car that the transmission came out of. It was actually my father's transmission in his 81, 82 Camaro. At the time, he had it rebuilt, and the guys at the transmission shop actually beefed it up pretty good for him. They put a shift kit in it and tuned it up, and it's a really good transmission. It's been sitting for a while, so hopefully it still works. But we'll cross that road when we get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. But this is the 350 that I got for this for my Nova. Now, I got to tell you guys, I don't have a lot of money to spend on this car, so I had to do a lot of bartering, stuff like that, to actually get myself a decent motor. And finally, after many, many failed attempts, I got myself a very decent motor. Did some bartering, did some work on a car for a friend of mine, and there it is. It's a fresh rebuilt. It doesn't look like it's fresh rebuilt, but it's not a Craigslist rebuild, okay? Somebody didn't just slap paint on it and say it was rebuilt. It actually was rebuilt, and when we start taking the motor apart, I'll show you that. All right, so enough rambling. I got to go ahead and start cleaning up the suspension, the chassis here. I got to measure it, make sure it's straight and square. Get that firewall scuffed down, get some fresh primer on it. A few more parts. I got to do the heater box there, the heater cover. I am going with heat, okay? I know a lot of guys delete that, but it's going to be a driver. So, all right, so enough rambling. Let's get to work. So I'm going to go ahead and check the frame to see if it's square. I did repair one of the plates on the frame. This subframe is actually in really good shape. I had it out, I cleaned it up, got some paint on it, but as you can see, it got weathered. You know, you let it sit outside for a while, and everybody knows what happens. I did a bunch of suspension work. I did a disc brake conversion on this car. So I want to actually get it all cleaned up, and you know, I was putting it off because I don't know what I was thinking. I'm thinking, oh, I'm gonna get this expensive paint and I'm gonna paint it and it's gonna look beautiful. But then I realized, I'm like, why? Just go scuff it up, put some primer on it, and go get some decent rattle can paint. Put it on there, nice semi-gloss. I always like that look, you know what I mean? So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Yeah. All right, it's actually pretty close. So I'm gonna go ahead, scuff down, pull these wheels off, all that good stuff, and we'll get to the fun part of scuffing, cleaning, scraping, priming, all that good stuff. All right, so I put new stainless steel brake lines on this, and I don't want to paint them. They look cool, so I'm gonna pop those off. Cool thing about this car was a lot of these little brackets and stuff like that come from the factory to hold these lines on and everything was still on the car, which is cool because you don't think about that stuff when you're actually ordering parts. So it was nice. They were all here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and take some glass cleaner. I'm going to clean this before I actually start sanding it. I feel like it'll help dramatically. It's been sitting a while, so I'm going to clean it. I'm just going to go ahead and hit it with some Scotch-Brite, you know, scuff it up, get some primer on there just to get a rough surface. I like this stuff because it's flexible, so it'll get in all those nooks and crannies and contours and all that good stuff. Alright, luckily enough, the last time I actually did this, I cleaned up the firewall pretty good. So all I had to do was give it a quick scuff. Alright. Let's put some primer on it. So I'm not terribly concerned about getting some overspray on the windshield because the windshield needs to be replaced anyway. But I still want to be able to see out of it when I get this thing running and driving and I can take it up the road. So I'm just going to throw a blanket over it. Just going to hit up a few areas, not going to go too crazy with it. Alright, I'm going to let that dry for a minute. I'll be back. right, so that's looking pretty good. Pretty happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and start laying down the black. Alright guys, so the car came out pretty good. I'm really liking how it's looking. I like that semi-gloss look, you know. It's a little shiny now, but once it cures, I'll have that nice satin look. And I think it'll look really great. It actually turned out a lot better than I thought it was gonna. So, still need to go ahead, strip the paint off of this motor here. Take a look inside. We gotta pull the intake off, all that good stuff. I'm actually gonna use Pour 15, the engine kit for this engine. That actually is the best adhesion, I guess you could say, that I've found for engines. So yeah, so that's next time. We're gonna tear this apart, clean it up, paint it, and I got a whole bunch of goodies to put on this thing. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. If you like the video, like the video. If not, that's fine. You know, I tried. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you guys later.